Meghan's podcast Archetypes returns with fascinating and secret story untold. Meghan's podcast Archetypes returns with fascinating and secret story untold. It is the first episode the Duchess of Sussex has released since early September. The Duchess of Sussex has resumed her Spotify podcast Archetypes after a 4-week break following the Queen's death and the official mourning period. The podcast, which has been releasing new episodes every Tuesday since it first launched in mid-August 2022, was temporarily paused for much of September out of respect for the late monarch, and to allow Meghan to focus on supporting her husband, Prince Harry, during the couple's extended stay in the UK. Meghan was joined by comedian Margaret Cho, sociologist Nancy Wang Yuan, and journalist Lisa Ling for a candid and illuminating conversation about the Dragon Lady stereotype and the other ways society limits and defines Asian women. At the beginning of the episode, the Duchess opened up about her experience of growing up in Los Angeles, which she says was full of culture that you could see, feel, hear and taste on a daily basis, adding that she had a real love of getting to know other cultures. She spoke of going to a Korean spa with her mother as a teenager, and her adolescent embarrassment of having to strip down in front of other women, as per the custom in Korean spas. It's a very humbling experience for a girl going through puberty, because you enter a room with women from ages 9 to maybe 90, all walking around naked, and waiting to get to body scrub on one of these tables that are all lined up in a row. All I wanted was a bathing suit. Once I was over that adolescent embarrassment, my mom and we would go upstairs, we would sit in a room, and we would have a steaming bowl of the most delicious noodles, she said. Previous guests on the podcast have included Serena Williams, Mariah Carey and Mindy Kaling. Throughout each episode, the Duchess engages in intimate conversations centered around gender-specific stereotypes and labels. As the show's synopsis reads, Archetypes is a podcast where we investigate, dissect, and subvert the labels that try to hold women back. The Duchess of Sussex was joined by Margaret Cho and Lisa Ling to break down the trope of the Dragon Lady on Archetypes. After a hiatus in releasing new episodes of Archetypes following the death of Queen Elizabeth on the 8th of September, Spotify dropped the latest edition of the Duchess of Sussex's podcast on Tuesday. Margaret Cho and Lisa Ling joined Meghan to break down the trope of the Dragon Lady. The Duchess opened the episode by recalling the diversity of culture she was exposed to while growing up in Los Angeles, explaining that the multitude of Asian cultures was a huge part of that. From exploring Little Tokyo on the weekends to relaxing at the Korean spa with her mother, Doria Ragland. However, Meghan admitted that she wasn't aware of the prejudiced stigmas many Asian women are forced to navigate until years later, pointing to the problematic portrayals often seen on the silver screen. Movies like Austin Powers and Kill Bill, they presented these caricatures of women of Asian descent as over-sexualized or aggressive, she said, noting that the classic films were just two of many examples. This toxic stereotyping of women of Asian descent, this doesn't just end once the credits roll, she continued. Welcoming Cho to break down the Dragon Lady trope, the 53-year-old actress, activist and comedian said the archetype stems from the fantasy of Orientalism. It's similar to the femme fatale, a woman who is beautiful and deadly. Because we can't just be beautiful. We have to have, like it has to come at a cost, and it's kind of like, evil queen adjacent. But it's also so pinned to this idea that Asianness is an inherent threat. That our foreignness is somehow gonna get ya, Cho said. The mystery and the exoticism of it is part of it. And unfortunately, that trope has really stuck to film, but also to Asian American women or Asian women. Ling also spoke to the lack of representation she saw on the small screen, revealing that it was a driving force for her to go into journalism. To be honest with you, the reason why I pursued broadcast journalism at all was because growing up, it's the only path that I thought was available to me. I was someone who grew up in a broken home, the CNN host shared. My parents were divorced when I was, and the television was always on in my home. It was like my favorite babysitter. And I used to have these fantasies of being part of it somehow, because I thought, if I can get on TV, maybe I will have a better life one day. But no one looked remotely like me on TV, except for Connie Chung. She still is just the symbol of elegance and intelligence and grace. And she really allowed me to know what was possible. Linga did. She was the only Asian person on a national stage. And so I thought that this would be my only pathway. Breaking tradition with episodes past, Archetypes' next guest was not revealed. 3 episodes of Archetypes were released before the monarch's death, with Meghan welcoming guests Serena Williams, Mariah Carey and Mindy Kaling to debunk stereotypes about women. But Spotify confirmed the delay in new episodes by updating the podcasts about section to read. New episodes of Archetypes will be paused during the official mourning period for Her Majesty the Queen Elizabeth II. Thank you for watching. If you like our video, would you please help us like, share and subscribe our channel. Wish you happy to see our videos. Thank you very much.